think it's recording. Is it? Let's see that again. Yep, it's going. Okay, so first thing to do if you're following along is to open your wide area network that we've been working on in Packet Tracer. Once it's open, and I've actually kind of moved things around a little bit, and I've already done this step, but I'll walk you through it. First of all, if you don't remember where you saved it, that could be a problem. But if you go up to recent files, you'll see it, your four most recent files that you've opened listed here. I've already done this so that I have it open. Once you have it open, then go to Save As and save it under a different name. I just added plus Wi-Fi here, right? And click Save. And then we'll be sure that we're not overwriting our original file. All right, so what we're going to do here first, we're going to add a home network to our wide area network. So we're going to need a home router, and the vast majority of people these days run Wi-Fi routers. So to get to that, you go to wireless, or I'm sorry, network devices, and the fourth icon in the bottom row is wireless devices. Click on that, and then the tool panel changes, and you'll see that there's a Linksys router listed here, WRT300N. So we're going to click on that, and we'll click over here and pop that guy in. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is configure this. So we'll open it up, and we're going to go over to the GUI tab. Now, GUI stands for Graphical User Interface, pronounced GUI. I'm going to make this a little taller. And I'm going to make some settings. I'm also going to open a notepad document. I actually have one going here already. And I'm going to keep track of things like my passwords and things in this notepad document so I don't have to type them more than once. All right, so first thing I'm going to do is come up here to where it says DHCP and change that to static IP. And I'm going to give it a static IP that's different from these other networks that I've used. I'm going to just use 172.17. I'll make it 100.1. And I'll set the subnet mask to 255.255.255.0. And the default gateway, oh, you know what? I'll take that back. I'm going to change it to .2, right? And I'm going to make my gateway 172.17. Oops, got to use the tab key to go from field to field. 117.17.100.1. Right, so my IP address will be 172.17.100.2, and my gateway's address will be the same .1. And sorry, my subnet mask, I want to be 255.255.255.0. All right. Okay, now my IP address, this is actually a special type of IP address, but I'm going to make believe it's like any other IP address that's out on the internet, and that it has to be unique. It's actually what we call a private IP address range, which allows multiple people to use that on the inside on their own networks. But I'm going to make believe that it's like any other address, and that the network portion must be different from other networks that I have here. So I'm going to change that from 192.168.0 to 192.168.100, right? Now, the last thing I need to, oh, I'm going to give it a host name. Let's see. Oh, I can't. Okay, never mind. I won't give it a host name. It doesn't allow me to. Right, so I'm going to scroll down. This is a weird thing about Packet Tracer's interface. You have to scroll down to the bottom to get to the Save Settings button. If you don't click that and you just click to another page, unfortunately, you lose all your settings. They're not saved. So I have to go down here and click Save Settings. And also, unfortunately, they don't pop up with a pop-up that says Settings Saved, which you actually would see if you were on a real router. So I'll accept that. Now, you'll notice that on this toolbar, we're in setup, but you'll notice that these little small links down below, each one of these options has sub options. Now, I don't right now care about any of these that are down here, but just point that out, because when we go to wireless, you'll see there are also sub options, and we're going to have to use one of these, right? Okay, so now the basic wireless settings we want to do is set a name for the router. I'm going to name it, I'll just name it after a Vermont town. I'll use Putney. You name it anything. Whoa, got my caps lock key on. Putney. A weird Vermont fact. Vermont has two towns that have names that are almost exactly the same, Putney and Poultney, and they're on opposite sides of the state from each other. So there you go. All right, so I'm going to give it an SSID, and I'm going to leave this enabled so that if someone wants to connect, they'll actually see that name. You might choose to disable this as a little bit of a security improvement. If you aren't broadcasting, you can't really hide the fact that you're sending out a radio signal, but you can leave the people who want to connect to it guessing as to what the SSID is. They have to have that in order to be able to connect. Now that's a pretty easy thing to get around if you know what you're doing, but it'll stop probably 95% of the people that are out there. All right, I'm going to save those settings. And then I'm going to come up to wireless security. And it says security mode disabled. I'm going to change that to WPA2 personal. So I want to choose the maximum level of security that the devices that are connecting to my network will have. And, you know, it's been, WPA2 has been around for long enough that, that you can count on any device being able to connect to it that you care about. Now, you don't want to choose WPA2 Enterprise, because this would be for a business or an organization that would have people who would have the knowledge and skill to be able to set up a server that would handle the authentication. We're not going to do that. We're just going to go WPA2 Personal. You're probably used to this because this uses a passphrase. We'll also leave it on AES. AES and TKIP are the two different kinds of encryption. So we'll leave that because AES is a little more secure than TKIP. And we're going to put a passphrase in. Now I came up with a passphrase already, and notice that it's got a, I like to use words instead of, you know, mixed up characters. I think as long as you have enough of them, it's easier to remember. I did throw in some capital letters and a special character or two. Probably would be a good idea to include a number. Maybe I could make one of these a 0, right? Instead of an O. And instead of trying to remember this, although that's not hard to remember, I'm going to copy it. I'm just going to paste it in here. All right. And I can see it as it is there. Sometimes the routers will hide it. So I'll scroll down to the bottom, click Save Settings. All right, so now I have the Putney router configured. The last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to skip over all these other tabs, go to Administration. I want to change the default admin password for the router so that no one else can break into my router and change it. This is commonly not done. You probably could go around your neighborhood and you know, spot who's got a Wi-Fi signal, and you might actually be able to connect to them using the default passwords. On a Linksys router, it's just admin. So I'm not encouraging you to hack your neighbor's routers, but it might be interesting to, you know, especially if you know them, say, by the way, I'm taking a course at school, and I noticed that your router's not locked down. You might want to think about doing that. On the other hand, if your neighbors are grouch, don't tell them, because probably get angry. All right, so I'm going to change this to something that's nobody is ever going to be able to guess. Something like really stupid, like password. All right. Now, you probably wanted a more secure password than that, but you could just throw it into your notepad document and to keep track of it. So now I'm gonna leave this remote management disabled. This means, could somebody connect from the internet to actually change these settings on my router? And you probably don't want to do that. So by keeping it disabled, it means that they would actually have to be on your network, or like I said, right outside your house on the sidewalk, to be able to get in there and change that. All right, and the last thing I'll do is click Save Settings. All right, so that should be ready to go, I believe, at this point. So I'm going to close that window. And I'm going to actually take this passphrase and just like the sticky note on the monitor, I'm going to put it right in here because I know I will never remember that. And so I'll say, I'll just leave it like that. There we go. So there it is. I can just copy it and paste it in if I want to later. Wish I could make that wider. All right, so now I want to put some devices in. I'm going to go down to End Devices, and I will pop in a PC. I think I'll stick in a printer and a laptop. Okay, and now we'll start connecting them. Now I'm going to do the laptop first. So I'm going to click on the laptop. And the first thing I have to do, and this is also Packet Tracer weirdness, just try to buy a laptop today that does not have a wireless card in it. I don't think you'll find one. But Packet Tracer, they don't have wireless cards in them. They have Ethernet cards in them. I don't know why. So the first thing we need to do is turn off the laptop, take this Ethernet card, drag it out into the toolbox. Right? Now we got an empty slot there. To come up and take the top one, which is the WPC300N, drop that in and turn the laptop back on. So just clicking this button here by the power cord turns it on and off. All right, now we can go to desktop mode and we can come down to the wireless connection. Okay. And I'm just gonna, I'll leave it where it is. So we could create a profile, but we don't really need to do that. I'm just gonna go to connect. And if I wait a moment, whoop, it pops up, all right? Putney, it's on channel 1. This is the SSID, Station Set Identifier is what that stands for. Got a good signal, I'm really close to it. I wonder if that signal changes if I move the laptop away. Let's move it way over here. It doesn't really change. All right, so I'm not sure. I'm not sure why we have a signal strength. Okay, so I've got that. I'm going to click connect, and it says, oh, it's WPA2 personal. Let's paste in our pre-shared key, which I still have copied to the clipboard. Please do not throw sausage pizza away. And then I am going to connect. And it says adapter is active. So I think I am connected. Oh yeah, I can see it over here. So if I close this now, I'll see, oh, my laptop is connected wirelessly to the wireless router. And if I mouse over the laptop, boom, I can see I have an IP address. It's 190, sorry about this, 192.168.100.100, right? And my gateway is configured correctly, all set to go with the laptop. All right, so now I need to configure my PC and my printer. I'm going to go ahead and put my IP address of the router. Oops, got the wrong icon. So this is 192.168.100.100. .100.1 for the router. Whoops. Okay, so I'm going to put that right there. I'm also going to take this, put it up here out of the way. And I'm going to go ahead and wire in the PCs. So I'll go to my straight through cable, click on the PC, fast Ethernet 0, Ethernet 1, and the printer, Ethernet 2, right? Now, these don't need any configuration because they are automatically configured for DHCP. If I go to my IP configuration, oh, no, I'm sorry, take that back. I do have to configure it for DHCP. Right, so it should come up here, yep, and ooh, that is not good. That is not the address I should have. I should not have a 169 address. So let's mouse over and see. There's a problem. Let me go back to my router. Well, DHCP is configured. So we need to figure out why. If I click DHCP reservation, this should tell me what devices actually are connected already. Okay. And I can see I have one, and that's the wireless device that's connected. But for some reason, my other devices aren't. Let's check the printer. Let's go to config mode on that. And we'll click that on DHCP, see if that one learns. Now this one picked it up. It's got a gateway address. It's not telling me what its IP address is, but if I go to the fast Ethernet, I can see this one picked up the address 102. All right, so this is 102, and this one is 100. I wonder if this one actually does have an address. It does. It just took it a while to pick it up. So you'll notice I picked up that the IP address started with 169, which is it's a special kind of IP address that computers will give themselves if they are not configured with an IP address. It's called an auto configuration address, but it wasn't 192.168.100, so that was not the correct IP address for this network. But apparently, it just took it a little while to get that from the router. All right, so now I'm going to test this. I'm going to take a simple ping packet, and I will try pinging from this device to the laptop. And I have to expand out my, oh, I better actually create a new scenario. All right, so I don't see the events from my previous tests. So I'll try that again. Get a simple packet, PC6 to the laptop, successful. How about from the laptop to the printer? Well, that's successful too. How about, I assume that since I'm going through the router, that I can ping the router itself. But I'm going to test this anyway because I go through the router by going through its switch. It has a built-in 4-port switch. So can I do the router itself? Yes, I can. So all of these are working. And just so you can see, if I click on the router, I go to physical mode, you'll see I have one blue port here, which is the port that connects to the outside, to the, it eventually will connect to this router. And then I have 4 Ethernet ports here that are really just another switch. So they could pass data through without actually having the router properly configured. All right, so I'm done. Now, because this is going on almost 20 minutes now, I'm going to stop it here. We will, in the next session on Thursday, actually connect these two together, that's going to require us to actually replace this router. So that's going to be it for this video. Just get your local area network configured and you'll be all caught up. Okay, that's it for today. So I will post this video in a few minutes. I think I have to actually stop recording here too. And let's see, which I don't know how to stop recording. Okay.